Hello, Savannah. Thank you for tuning into WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Just tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with myself, Julia M. Spencer. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We got another rainy one out there. It is warm, though, so that's a good thing. So I had to drive my car. No bicycle for me today. And on today's show, and by the way, on my show, we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing, real estate for homeowners, real estate for landlords and tenants, and just everybody. And because we all have to live somewhere, that pretty much concerns you. Yes, you who are listening. So I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for tuning in. My show is on Wednesdays. By the way, if you need more information about me, I have a YouTube channel you can check out for more information. Just my name, Julia M. Spencer, and been doing this show right here on WRUU for going on 4 years now. I can't believe it. This has been quite the adventure. So I really love being here. And on my show, what we do, we talk a little bit dry topics, of course, giving you a little bit of education and knowledge. And we play songs in between to wake you up a little bit because we can't just stay dry all the time. And obviously, it's wet outside. And on today's show, of course, the biggest topic actually was brought to me by one of my subscribers on my YouTube channel. And I have a lot of videos out there that talk about foreclosure sales, how to get cheap properties, how to build your portfolio, how to build income-producing properties, and all and everything that is related to that. But this lady actually came to me and she said, "Hey, Julia, can you make a video or some sort of give us information about how you can avoid foreclosure as a homeowner?" And I thought that was a really great idea, especially now since we're all kind of like a little bit strapped with this COVID thing. And a lot of people have lost jobs, have diminished incomes, have problems making their payments. And I thought I'll do this show today. I'll make the show all about a couple of tips that I want to give you on how to avoid foreclosure. If you're faced with foreclosure, if you're a homeowner and you're possibly might be losing your home, some of the things that you can do to help you. It might not avoid foreclosure altogether, but at least you'll be able to maybe find some sort of solution to wiggle out of that problem and that challenge in your life a little bit better or easier, or at least work and find some sort of workaround for it. And I have 10 tips that I want to give you, and we're going to do that in about 3 segments here. But before we get started with that, I thought we'd start with a little bit of wake-up music. I know we're all a bit sleepy out there with this weather. And here we go. Let's not be sleepy. This one is by Tom Gregory. It's called Losing Sleep. Stay on. Don't go anywhere. Love that song. Everybody wake up there. Yay! Thanks for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk. On today's show, we're talking about a couple of tips that you can follow to help you avoid foreclosure, or at least try to find some sort of solution if you're facing that problem. I know I shouldn't be chipper about that's actually a serious problem, especially now with COVID times, people losing their jobs, not being able to make payments on their homes. So this is a serious topic. So yes, I know we were all dancing to the song and we're all awake and chipper now, but this is a serious topic. So let's talk about this. If you fail to make your mortgage payments, foreclosure may occur. You know this, of course. Foreclosure is basically the legal means that your lender can use to repossess, take over your home. And this is your bank, basically, that gave you the money to buy that house if you're a homeowner. When this happens, you must move out of your house and find some other place to live. And that's very stressful, especially if you have a family that you need to house, or obviously you need to live somewhere yourself. If your property is worth less than the total amount you owe on your mortgage loan, a deficiency judgment could also be pursued. What does that mean? That basically means if you bought your property when house prices maybe were up and you lived in there for a while, house prices went down and you are now in a negative, basically. There's a delta between how much the house is worth and what you owe on it. Then after foreclosure, the bank may actually come against you personally for that difference, which is an additional legal process and an additional hardship and problem that you might be facing if you are facing foreclosure. So if that happens, you may not only lose your home, but you also would owe the lender an additional amount beyond of losing your home. And that's just double stressful. So both foreclosures and deficiency judgments could seriously affect your ability to qualify for credit in the future. And that's not only home credit, also car credits or credit cards or anything else that you're trying to get a loan for in the future. So I wanted to talk on the show a little bit about some of the things that you can do to help yourself and at least be a little bit more proactive in helping yourself and maybe finding a solution with your lender out of this mess. If you're facing that, the very first thing, don't ignore the problem. That's really the biggest thing that you need to face. You can't just kind of sweep it under the rug and walk away and hopefully the problem will go away. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. So the further behind you become, the harder it will be to reinstate your loan and the more likely that you will lose your house. I can tell you from experience, because I'm actually working with somebody who was about to lose their home, that we always made sure that whatever information or whatever letters we got from the lender, from the bank, that we immediately opened it, we immediately read it, and we were talking and calling and discussing the situation with the bank. If it's a mortgage company, obviously, if it's a small one, maybe not, but if it's like a bigger company, like, one of the big mortgage lenders out there that are federally backed, they will have some sort of loss mitigation department. And some of them have a loan modification department. So these are different people that you need to talk to. Not everybody is helpful, but just be steady on the phone and don't lose sight of what you're trying to accomplish. Make sure you open each letter. Make sure you call them when they ask you to call and talk to them. And that's really the first and the biggest advice that I can give you. If you're facing foreclosure, don't ignore the problem. The problem is only going to get bigger if you ignore it. So make sure you talk to the lenders to see if you can figure out some sort of solution. The second thing that you should do is contact your lender as soon as you realize that you have a problem. A lot of people that are faced with foreclosure are thinking that, maybe I can swing it for another 2 or 3 months or so, and I'm going to be losing my job. For example, I have like basically a contract that's running out for work. For example, I have 3 more months worth of work. And then after that, I will not have a job. But contact your lender before those 3 months basically are up, if you know that you're going to be losing your job in the future, because you can take steps ahead of time to kind of prevent from any kind of foreclosure proceedings to start. And that would be my best advice there, because you can actually talk to the loan modification department before you're in default with the loan. And they might be able to work out something where you can get a much lower interest rate than what you initially have agreed to, and restructure your payments in that your payment will, first of all, it's going to be a lot less, but also that in the future, you're going to be saving a lot more money because your interest rate will be lower. In addition, what I've learned with loan modifications, it's basically a refinancing with the same company. So as when you purchased your home, you're not responsible to make a payment right away. So you don't like sign on the dotted line, you do the closing, and then your payment is due. It's usually due towards they add about another 30 days or so. So if you close like on the 15th of the month, you don't have to make a payment that month or the next month, but the month after. So when you restructure your loan, you might not only get a cheaper interest rate, you might also get a payment forgiveness basically for 2 months. And that's going to be a significant improvement in your payment structure, if, for example, if you're about to lose your job. So that's always a good thing to contact them as soon as you have a problem, so you have time to work out all the details, because they might need some information from you, some tax returns, some W-2s, whatever it is that you need to provide. And that is very helpful. My third tip to avoid foreclosure: open and respond to all mail from your lender. Like I said already, the first notices you receive will offer good information about foreclosure prevention options that help you whether any financial problems. So later mail may include important notices pending legal action. So your failure to open the mail will not be an excuse in foreclosure court. So again, ignorance is not bliss in this case. Ignorance is your own fault. So you need to open the mail that you get. Those are my first 3 tips for you. You definitely need to make sure that you check all your mail, you answer, you be proactive, and don't ignore the problem. Now, from my own experience, I always have to throw in a little bit of caveats of my own experience. I was actually foreclosed on a home one time, not very long ago, but it was a really weird kind of setup because I owned the house, but I didn't own the mortgage. So the foreclosure didn't go on my credit report because it wasn't my loan. It was a really weird arrangement where I actually had taken over the house from somebody else. And I was going to save the house and make payments on it, but it was a very difficult house to keep, and I really just wanted to get rid of it. So in that case, I let it go to foreclosure, and the other owner also had no interest in it, so we just kind of let it go. Just to give you a little bit of an idea how long it takes, the whole foreclosure process from A to Z, if you're not answering your mail, and if you ignore the problem, basically, it took us about 9 months. So from the first notices and payments not being made, about 9 months, foreclosure was completed. So that's kind of the time frame if you ignore the problem. Now, if you're a little bit more proactive about it and you answer your mail, you don't ignore the problem, you talk to your lender, you talk to you check your mail and you read the information that's in there, you could possibly drag it out for 2 to 3 years, depending on how long the processes are working in for that particular lender, how quickly they are in turning around information, and so on and so forth. So even if you have no way to avoid foreclosure, the best thing is still not to ignore the problem and to still call your lender if you get mail that you need to answer and respond to it, because at least that will give you additional time in your home. If you're faced with foreclosure and you'll have to move out, at least you have a little bit more time in your home to live and gather your affairs and your things and figure out some other way of where to proceed from that point onwards. So it might not help you avoid foreclosure completely, but not ignoring the problem might give you a little bit more time in your home. So a little bit of actionable advice here for today. Thank you for tuning into my show. You are actually listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. A little bit of background on my show. We've been here on the station on WRUU for about going on 4 years. It seems like yesterday when I started here, but it's been quite a while, and I really love being here. All of my shows are actually recorded, so if you want to listen to them in the future sometime, make sure you check them out. You can catch them on WRUU.org. There are more episodes available on my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Julia M. Spencer. And of course, I appreciate all input, good, bad, ugly. And of course, constructive criticism is most appreciated. You can email me at realestate@juliamspencer.com. Don't forget the M in the middle, Spencer with a C. And I look forward to hear your comments, suggestions, and criticism, of course. So let's see, what time is it? It's 12:23 today. We're actually broadcasting live from downtown Savannah, near Troop Square, if you know where our studio is. It is a not so gorgeous day out there, but we're having a good time anyways. I'm going to play you another little break song. We're going to have some announcements at the bottom of the hour where we always are. Playing them, and I have a couple more tips to share with you to avoid foreclosure, namely about 7 more. So it's going to be 10 altogether. I gave you 3 already, and I'll be right back after this song. So stay on. Don't go anywhere.
The federal government is reopening healthcare enrollment for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, from February 15th to May 15th, 2021. To answer the questions, do I qualify and how do I enroll, go to healthcare.gov. Also use healthcare.gov to compare plans, sign up for coverage, and get financial assistance. Again, for more information and to sign up for a healthcare plan under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, go to healthcare.gov.
Do you own a small business? Do you want to get your message out to a dedicated, loyal, and active audience? Then make WRUU part of your company's marketing strategy. Our listeners aren't just passively listening to us in the background. When your company underwrites with WRUU, you're getting their attention. And you're also supporting Savannah's only community radio station. It's an act of both self-interest and community spirit. Connect your brand with WRUU's passion, spunk, and hyperlocal focus by choosing an underwriting package that fits your company's budget. Email underwriting@wruu.org for more information. Thank you.
The Savannah Philharmonic has announced a dynamic new concert series for spring 2021. Monthly indoor concerts with a masked, socially distanced audience will feature various ensembles of the Philharmonic at either the Metal Building at the Kehoe Ironworks downtown or Skidaway Island United Methodist Church locations. These concerts will culminate in the season finale outdoor concert of the full Philharmonic on June 27th at Trustees Garden. More information can be found at savannahphilharmonic.org.
Hey, Savannah. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. And those were our announcements for the bottom of the hour. And on today's show, we're talking about tips on how to avoid foreclosure. It's kind of a misnomer because I'm not going to guarantee that any of these tips work for you to actually avoid foreclosure, but at least they'll give you maybe a little bit more time in your home before you have to leave. If you can't make your payments and you're losing your home, at least they'll give you something to be able to reorganize some sort of other plan of action. And so this is what this show is about. I have a couple more for you. We had the first three I was talking about were basically not to ignore the problem, contact your lender as soon as you realize that you have a problem, and open and respond to all mail from your lender. The next tip I want to give you is know your mortgage rights. So what does that mean? Find your loan documents and read them so you know what your lender may do if you can't make your payments. Learn about the foreclosure laws and timeframes in your state, as every state is different, by contacting the state government housing office. And you can do this no matter what kind of loan you have. If you have a federally backed loan or if you have a private loan, just check your mortgage rights. And as with tax sale foreclosures, which is usually what I work with here in my show here, because that's kind of like my little micro niche that I work in to buy tax sale foreclosures, I know all the laws in all the different states, all the different jurisdictions where I work, the cities, the counties, the special assessment government offices. I know all their laws and regulations, and this is how I can kind of get ahead of my competition sometimes, because I know some things that they don't know to get the good deals. But on the flip side, this also works for you as a homeowner. So if you know the laws and regulations and the mortgage laws in your specific jurisdiction, no matter where you are, that's going to give you an edge, because trust me, you might actually be able to learn more than the people you're talking to on the phone on the lender's side. And I don't know how many times I can tell you we've made phone calls to banks and told them certain things that they didn't even know. And you got to just remember that the people on the other side, I know they're loan officials and bankers, but they're people just like we are, so they make mistakes. So if you know and you know your laws and you have your ducks in a row, basically, you also always have a heads up. Basically, you have a better way to deal with the situation, and you'll know more information, and it's going to give you an advantage. So it's always good to get educated. That goes for any endeavor, and learning those mortgage laws in your area can make a big difference for you. Again, contact the state government housing office. You can find their website on the internet, and just ask if you don't know. If you don't know how to read something that you find online, ask somebody, maybe get an appointment with a housing officer, and just ask them direct questions. Ask them to help you. The next thing that you need to understand, and this kind of goes in with this last tip, is understand the foreclosure prevention options. Valuable information about foreclosure prevention, also called loss mitigation options, can be found on the internet at www.fha.gov/foreclosure/index.cfm. I got this information from a real estate website, findlaw.com. So this is FHA.gov. Check out to see what you can learn about foreclosure prevention options. It's called loss mitigation. And as you may have heard me in the beginning of the show, I was actually telling you about when you contact your lender, they might actually send you to the loss mitigation department. So they have people actually working at your lender side also that have the understanding of the laws and regulations. But it's also good for you to understand what they are. All mortgage companies and banks and mortgages themselves are actually regulated by the government. So if you know the laws of the ones that they have to abide by and the ones that apply to you, then that's going to give you, again, a heads up and better options to deal with the situation and help yourself. Another tip I wanted to give you is contact a HUD-approved housing counselor. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is the short term is HUD, H-U-D, funds free or very low-cost housing counseling nationwide. Housing counselors can help you understand the law and your options, organize your finances, and represent you in negotiations with your lender if you need this assistance. And this is actually kind of key, what this says right here on this website. You are actually going to be in negotiations with the lender. And if you need assistance with this because you don't know the laws, this is a perfectly good place to go. You can call 1-800-569-4287. That's the number to find a HUD-approved housing counselor near you. This is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is very good advice. A lot of people don't know about this. They think they're kind of like in the water with the lender on their own. They don't have any support. But again, as I mentioned, all mortgage loans and bankers, givers of these mortgage loans basically, are regulated by the federal government. And so the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development are there to assist homeowners like yourself to get assistance to avoid foreclosure, or at least help you with negotiations with the lender in case you needed to negotiate some different kind of terms for your mortgage, or maybe even, an extension of your stay, of you being able to stay in a home before you have to leave after foreclosure, and anything that you can negotiate basically. So the number again is 1-800-569-4287. This is the number to find a HUD-approved housing counselor near you. And these are usually either free or very low cost, and they are available nationwide. So another tip wanted to give you is prioritize your spending. After healthcare, keeping your house should be your first priority. So review your finances and see where you can cut spending in order to make your mortgage payment. Look for optional expenses like cable TV. I don't think anybody needs cable TV anymore. This is my personal opinion, people, but we have enough free entertainment out there. We don't need cable TV. Also, get outside a little bit. You don't need to watch TV all the time. Memberships, a lot of subscriptions too that you may have signed up for that are automatic that you've maybe forgotten about. I personally, for example, use PayPal, and I go in the subscription list of that particular app every once in a while just to see what's accumulated there that I don't even use. And, on the regular, I find a lot of money that I can save by just canceling subscriptions. So that's a good tip. Also, entertainment that you can eliminate, opt out for freer and more cost-efficient entertainment, I guess. And delay payments on credit cards and other unsecured debt until you have paid your mortgage. And I know it's not a very good advice. Default on your credit card so you can make your house payment, but your house payment is more important. So this is a good tip. Delaying payments on credit cards might help you stay in your house longer. So prioritize your spending. Start drawing up a budget if you never have, and follow it. Try to get the people in your family to buy in on it and stay consistent. And by the way, going out and eating out, that was always a big thing in my family because everybody's too lazy to cook usually. So spending a lot of money at restaurants, that's a big one. And, cooking at home is much more cost efficient anyways. That's my 2 cents worth here. Thank you, Danielle, for cooking. Anyways, so we have a couple more points here. 3 more. I'm gonna give those to you in the last segment. Let me just summarize what I've given you so far, because I want you to follow up on this. Be proactive, take the next step. So the first couple that I've given you: don't ignore the problem, contact your lender as soon as you realize you have a problem, open and respond to all mail from your lender, know your mortgage rights and understand foreclosure prevention options, and contact a HUD-approved housing counselor. That's the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Prioritize your spending. And the last couple of tips I will give you after one more break song here. It is 12:38 right now, 12:39 just now turned. And I'll be right back after this. So stay on and don't go anywhere. Thanks for having stayed on with me here for Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. Glad you joined me here on a Wednesday afternoon, on this rainy Wednesday afternoon here. And I guess I have to take back something I just said. Restaurants are great. I love them. I want to go eat out every day. I just don't have the money. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is prioritize your spending. Like, be careful. Don't be so free with your finances. If you can't make your house payment, this is what I've always said to my tenants too. I'd go, back in the day when I actually had long-term tenants, I would always go into the tenants' homes and there'd be something broken. I don't know. They have an issue with a light bulb not working or something, something silly. But then they have these big flat screen TVs, but they can't make their rent payment to me. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a big TV like that. Prioritize your spending. That's really the point that I'm trying to make. If you have expenses that you don't need to have and you need to make your mortgage payment, after health, like I said, your house should be your most important payment, and you need to focus on that. You need to get your ducks in a row, get your life in order, get your stuff, can't say that word here. You need to have your stuff, the S word, you need to have your stuff arranged. And because that is part of being a responsible adult. So let's talk a little bit more about a couple more tips. We have about 17 more minutes or so left. And I got 3 more tips to give you. So the next one is use your assets. And what does that mean? Do you have assets? For example, a second car, jewelry, a whole life insurance policy that you can sell for cash to help reinstate your loan? Can anyone in your household get an extra job to bring in additional income? Even if these efforts don't significantly increase your ability to get cash or increase your income, they demonstrate to your lender that you're willing to make sacrifices to keep your home. So I have a little bit of an issue with this statement because I'm always very careful about throwing good money after bad. If the lender looks like they're going to foreclose anyways, you don't want to give them, additional money. Of course, they're going to take it, but if you don't want to throw good money after bad, basically. But of course, if you don't need that second car that's sitting around, that's a good asset to sell. Jewelry, I wouldn't have any, so I don't know anything about that. Whole life insurance policies, that's very good, but they're asking here that if you have one, you should sell one. You don't actually have to sell your whole life insurance policy. The way that works is you can actually get a cash value loan on your whole life insurance policy if you have such a thing, and you basically would be making payments to yourself, to your whole life insurance policy. Usually the interest rate is a little bit higher than a refinance or mortgage, something between 6 and 8%. But this is a loan to yourself, so you don't have to deal with a lot of banks. And it's actually a really good way to help you if you're in a bind for money. And the way it works is that, of course, people are like, well, I don't want to take money from my insurance because what if I die and then my heirs don't get, as much as the life insurance is worth. But I think the way it works is that whatever is remaining, in case you should die, let's just knock on wood that doesn't happen. But in case you should die before you pay off your whole life insurance loan, then that remaining amount that you still owe is going to be subtracted from the cash out to your heirs. And a lot of times, of course, the loan isn't even nearly as high as what the actual insurance policy is. So it's a little bit of a deduction, but it's not a big deduction, so it might be worth it in your case. So definitely check with your financial advisor to see if that's a viable option for you. And of course, can anyone in your household get an extra job to bring in additional income? That's a really good thing if you have a spouse that's been like a, house person or a housewife or something. Doesn't hurt to get an extra job if they have the time and the willingness. That's a good idea. But again, if these efforts don't help you prevent foreclosure, I would definitely rather opt for negotiating with the lender and don't throw good money after bad, basically. So that's my tip here on using your assets. Also, a lot of you all right now are sitting on a lot of cryptocurrencies here, and cryptocurrencies are doing really, really well right now. I'm actually very surprised, very happy about this myself. But some of you all are sitting on cryptocurrencies and you don't want to sell them because they're going up. But if you are broke, maybe that's the place to start selling as well if you are about to lose your home. Your home, of course, most important thing after healthcare. Cryptocurrencies, yeah. If you have them, sell them. Whatever you have to do to stay in your home. The next tip, I have 2 more for you. Avoid foreclosure prevention companies. That's a biggie. You don't need to pay fees for foreclosure prevention help. This is why I'm making this show today, people. Use that money to pay the mortgage instead. Many for-profit companies will contact you promising to negotiate with your lender, and that's really actually all they do, and you can do this yourself. While these may be legitimate businesses, they will charge you a hefty fee, often 2 or 3 months mortgage payment, for information and services your lender or HUD-approved housing counselor will provide free if you contact them. This is what I just mentioned about how to contact them, and I'm going to give you that number again if you haven't had a chance to write it down. It's 1-800-569-4287. This number will find you a HUD-approved housing counselor near you. This is free information. Just look at it as a public service announcement here. And and that's what you should do. They will provide that information for you for free or very cheaply priced. I don't actually know how much it costs, and I'm not affiliated with them or get any kickbacks. That's just my information here for you. And let's see, my last tip for you for today is don't lose your house to foreclosure recovery scams. That's a big one too. If any firm claims they can stop your foreclosure immediately if you sign a document appointing them to act on your behalf, you may well be signing over the title to your property and becoming a renter in your own home. Never sign a legal document without reading and understanding all the terms and getting professional advice from an attorney, a trusted real estate professional, or a HUD-approved housing counselor. So, that's, that goes without saying. Don't sign anything without reading it first. Don't sign over your home. Now, what I did, however, do, since I am here on this show as a real estate investor, what I have done is I have contacted people that were in foreclosure or just about to be foreclosed on their homes and negotiated with them to sign over their home to me and basically make them a renter. I have done that. However, I've not done that in order to scam them out of any money or basically their home. This was a win-win situation always, in that I would, as an investor, basically add properties to my portfolio, but the original owner would get to stay in their home even if they were renting, or else would save face and maybe even save their credit because foreclosure was avoided. So if they were going to lose their home to the bank or to me, it would be better to lose it to me without having to go through the formal lending foreclosure process, which will be on your credit report for the next 7 to 10 years or maybe even longer. So these are some really good tips here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a review of everything that I have mentioned again real quick. And let's see, do we play a song? No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to stay here on here for a little bit. So 10 tips to avoid foreclosure. might or might not work, but at least it will give you a little bit more time in your home if you are forced to depart because you can't make the payments anymore. One of them is don't ignore the problem. Contact your lender as soon as you realize you have a problem. Open and respond to all mail from your lender. Know your mortgage rights. Understand foreclosure prevention options. Contact a HUD-approved housing counselor. Prioritize your spending. Use your assets. Avoid foreclosure prevention companies and don't lose your house to foreclosure recovery scams. So those are my tips here for today on today's show, where we're talking about how to help you avoid foreclosure or at least delay the process. And on this show here, Real Estate Real Talk, I talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing. This show right here is actually recorded. It will be later placed on my YouTube channel. It's easy to find, Julia M. Spencer. And you can also find it right here on the WRUU.org website, which is where it will be published at a later point in time as well. And after the show, we're going to have some African music hosted by Ben, so stay on for that. Don't go anywhere. My show here is on Wednesdays at noon. It's right after the happiness message, about 12:06 p.m. It's easy to remember, middle of the week, middle of the day. And I love sharing my expertise, knowledge, information with you. If you have any feedback on this show, and if you have any comments you want to make sure you send them to me at realestate@juliamspencer.com. Also, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can leave comments in the comment section. I will definitely appreciate any and every input that you give me. And yeah, we're going to play one last song here before I am out for the day. Make sure you join me again next Wednesday. I hope you all have a great rest of the week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.